So like Michelle said, my name is Yesenia Arias. I work with the Foothill Gold Line Construction Authority. I am their community relations manager. I've been with the agency, I'm going on 4 years now. We have a lot of presentation. Well, the presentation is pretty long between Kelsey and I, so I'm gonna speak pretty fast, but if you need to stop me at any time, feel free to just interrupt me and ask whatever you need to ask. We like to start off with this slide, any presentation that we do, because we want to show the magnitude of the population that is growing in our area. So it's expected that LA County is going to grow 16% by 2040. And the San Gabriel Valley is going to grow by 11.4%. So more than 2 million people. And what we've found is that the population growth in the San Gabriel Valley is taking up most of it. So 41% of the San Gabriel Valley population, how can I say? Okay, so LA County is going to grow by 11%. And then from there, the San Gabriel Valley will grow 11%. And then the cities along the Foothill Gold Line corridor are going to take 41% of that growth and 54% of the job growth. So within the San Gabriel Valley and within the Foothill Gold Line cities, we need to prepare for this growth that is about to happen. And as all of you travel the freeways, we see the same thing. I think pre-COVID, this was our life. And unfortunately, as sometimes I go into the office, I'm starting to see this happening again about 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock now. I live in Diamond Bar and I drive out to Monrovia to where our headquarters is. And it's estimated that 2.8 million trips taking place each day within or around the Foothill Gold Line cities are nearly all by car and only 3% are by transit. So it's important to provide choices for people to travel. And that's one of the main reasons why the Construction Authority was created back in 1998. The first plan of this agency was to design and build the Metro Gold Line from Union Station to Pasadena. And then later in 2011, it was pushed all the way out to Montclair in San Bernardino. For those of you who don't know, we are a completely different agency from Metro. We coordinate very, very much with LA Metro when we're designing and building the system, but ultimately we will build the system and then hand it over to Metro for operation. Once that happens, our agency closes its doors. This is our board of directors. We recently, Mr. Mendel Thompson from your city council joined our board. I think he was sworn in either yesterday or the day before yesterday, so it's very new. But this is our board. It's made up of elected officials along the corridor from the 3 segments that we've been working on. We have a very good grassroots approach. Our agency is governed by elected officials, which we call, it's a group that we're calling the Joint Powers Authority. It's made up of elected officials from not only between Glendora and Pomona, it's all of the other cities that we've worked in. For example, Arcadia, Duarte, Azusa, Monrovia, etc. We also have an advisory committee that is made up of the technical staff from all of those cities. So public works directors, city managers, and so forth. So far, we've built 2 phases. We are in the 3rd phase now. The first phase was from LA to Pasadena. That was 13 miles and 13 stations. The second segment was from Pasadena to Azusa. That was 11 miles and 6 stations. And then the third that we're working on right now is Glendora to Montclair. That's 12 miles in 6 cities with 6 stations. Just to make sure that you understand, we are working only with light rail. Metrolink is a completely different type of rail. It's a commuter rail, a heavy rail. Light rail is, it's run by electricity. It runs up to 55 miles per hour. It can hold up to 200 passengers. And these trains run about 20 to 22 hours a day. During peak times, it's every 8 minutes. And off-peak times, it's every 16 minutes. This is the corridor that we're working with now. So it starts, this is already built here. So we have Glendora, San Dimas, Laverne, and Pomona. We are still responsible for building Claremont and Montclair. However, we may have to build the second segment in a different phase due to funding. We currently have the funding to build from Glendora to Pomona, which is what we're calling our base contract. And we still are looking to build all the way out to Montclair by 2028. When we hired our contractor that Kelsey works with, we put in the contract that we're looking to receive the funds or find the funds to build all the way out to Montclair by October 2021. If we do that, then we can enact a contract option so that our current contractor can build all the way out to Montclair. So we broke on ground for the Glendora to Pomona segment in 2017. We've already completed 2 contracts. The first contract was to do some of the utility relocation. And then the second contract was to underground all of the communication for the freight system so we can make room for the light rail. Then we hired and we signed the design build contract with KPJB on October 4th, 2019. And so this is what I was trying to explain to you a little earlier. This is the segment that is fully funded right here. And then this is a segment that we are currently looking for the funds for. So we're hoping October 2021 is coming close, but our chief officers and our CEO are diligently looking for the additional funding so that we can make the system all the way out to Montclair. Just a quick overview of the project from Glendora to Montclair. It's 9 miles long. It has 21 at-grade or street level crossings. It has 19 bridges that we need to do. It has 4 intermodal parking facilities that will have bike parking, electric vehicle spaces, and drop-off and shuttle bus zones as well. So major construction started in July of 2020. I'm sure you've seen construction in Glendora. Glendora has most of the project, and we've been very, very busy in your city. Yesterday, when we were at the board meeting, staff reported that we are at 80% of the design of the project. We have completed 18% of the freight track relocation. We need to remove the freight track from APU station all the way out to Pomona and replace it. And we've done 18% of that. We've currently finished or removed the track from Gladstone Street all the way through to APU area. And then the grade crossing reconstruction, it's about 22% done. We've completed 4 grade crossings and we are now in construction at 3 more. So total, we have completed 25% of the project, which I'm pretty proud of because it's been about 1 year this month that all of our staff went to their remote locations to work. Our office is closed for the most part, but we've been very fortunate to be able to continue working and complete 25% of the project. So some of the design elements or project construction that relate specifically to Glendora is the new renovated bridges in Glendora is, there's going to be 3. One on Foothill and Grand, and that bridge is only for light rail. There's going to be a bridge on Route 66. There's already a freight bridge there. We're going to add the light rail bridge there. On Lone Hill Avenue, there will be a flyover for the light rail only as well. The at-grade crossings for Glendora are Bronca Avenue, which was complete in January. Foothill Boulevard and Grand Avenue. We'll still have to rebuild that freight track. Vermont Avenue is another crossing. And then Glendora Avenue was recently completed. It opened on Monday. Pasadena Avenue, Elwood Avenue is currently closed right now. Lorraine Avenue and Lone Hill as well are grade crossings. Lone Hill will only have to redo the freight track because there will be a bridge here. And then Gladstone Street is the other crossing that we completed last year, November, I believe. In Glendora, there is 2 areas where there'll be cul-de-sacs. West Ada, next to Vermont, and then Glenwood Avenue. Those 2 streets are permanently closed per our state agency, the California Public Utilities Commission. There'll also be a new traffic signal at Elwood Avenue and Foothill Boulevard. This is the Glendora station site plan. It's hard to see. I'm going to try to zoom in. Here we go. So this is Glendora Avenue, and this is Vermont. Train riders can actually go from Glendora Avenue, get under this undercrossing here, and then access the station platform, or they can come this way as well through Vermont. They can come in here, or if they don't want to use the undercrossing, they can also walk all the way around to get into the station. This is a rendering of what it's going to look like. Recently, we did an environmental document because Metro they recently did a new management plan for the parking and asked us to revisit all of the parking. So we will no longer have a structure there. We're going to have a surface parking lot instead. So besides that, everything else looks the same. This is the art that the artist Michael Hillman is planning on doing. He lives in Glendora and works in Glendora, and his whole theme is called A Slice of Sunshine in Glendora. I believe that was one of the taglines for one of the old packing stations. So he is using mosaic tiles on these 2 columns, and hopefully he can get passengers to reminisce on the old Glendora and the city's history. This here is.
Yesenia, I'm sorry, I had a question going back to the access. You had mentioned there's a subterranean access?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So can you tell us how or who provides security for that area?
Metro does. So okay. Once we complete the project, Metro takes it over, and there is already talks with the different law enforcement and how that works. The city has already brought that up. And if I don't know the exact details, but I know that they've talked about who will have access to the cameras that are installed in this area, who responds first, and all of those different details that go along with it. It's the conversation has been going now for a while. So they're very much aware of the insecurities that you're feeling right now.
Great. Thank you so much.
Sure. Go back. So I was here on the Foothill Boulevard and Grand Avenue Gold Line Bridge. This is also hard to see, but we're going to have the new light rail bridge going across the street, and then the freight track will remain underneath, and then there will be new street medians. And we'll also modify the signals to make sure that that the traffic is flowing as well. This kind of shows you the, all right, here. Maybe I can do this. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see this here? This is the stamped concrete, decorative concrete that we are going to be doing on the retaining walls. And then, okay. This here is a picture of a model that we provided when we did the open houses last year. This model shows, the actual model is in City Hall if you ever need to see it, or the Transportation Center. But this shows Grand Avenue here, and it shows Foothill here. This is a train going around. And then this would be the freight train coming through. Okay. This is the Lone Hill Avenue flyover bridge. The same thing happens here. We have the light rail bridge for only the light rail. The freight track will remain at grade, and we'll have modified street medians, modified signals, and we'll make sure that visibility and the flow is the way that it should be, of course. We also have the motto for that one here. This is Lone Hill right here. This is the flyover. And then here is Auto Center Drive. And then this is the Route 66 bridge. We didn't do a model for this one, but the freight bridge that is currently there.
Senior, can you go back? This is RF. I just have
Yes.
a question on, this slide. So what is the is there anticipation that Lone Hill will be closed during that time?
In our contract, which we worked with the city to put that together, we're allowed to close this intersection for 9 days consecutively.
So there will be a time, but it'll only be a short time that it'll be closed.
It's only going to be 9 days.
Okay.
There will be lane closures. We'll do most of our work through lane closures, but try to keep the traffic flowing. But a complete closure like the Elwood crossing or the Glendora Avenue crossing will only be for 9 days.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
So this is the Gold Line Bridge. This yellow here shows you where we will have our light rail bridge. The freight track bridge will stay just the way that it is. And I believe this is where I introduced Miss Kelsey DiPaola.
Hi, nice to meet you all. As Yesenia said, I do work for the contractor. I've been working for them for about 8 years, and I've worked on other various projects as well. So Yesenia and I kind of tag team each city for all the outreach and all the construction activities. She gave the general, and I'm going to give some details. So just to start off with some highlights, the Barranca Avenue crossing is what you see in front of you. It was closed for about 5 months, and we were able to open it in January. And you can see on the south side, you see the one track. So that's the freight track that you have currently experienced in the past. It's the train that runs up to twice a day. I don't know if every day it's running twice. I know it is not currently running. We worked out a contract with the people on the west side to deliver their goods that they need while we rebuild the tracks, because rebuilding without a live track actually speeds up our schedule. So that is what you currently see with the 2 tracks on the north side, which are the light rail. Yesenia just mentioned some medians that are going to be going in the intersections, and you can kind of see each crossing does differ a little bit, but every single crossing has these medians. Oh, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it has the medians in the center, and then there's red curb on either side for the safety regulations. So the next, we are very excited. We just opened the Glendora Avenue crossing on Monday, and kind of the same goes for here. You can see all 3 tracks and then the medians right there in the center with the red curb. They are still working to complete some smaller details with the sidewalks, and on the right side of the left picture, you can see some platforms in concrete. Those are going to be for both the big crossing arms and the pedestrian crossing arms to get you across safely. But we're proud of this. We are excited that it's open. It's a big one, and we know it's a heavy commuter street for all the businesses there, and as well as the residents. So that just opened this week. And then just west of that crossing that we just looked at is where the Glendora station is going to be. I know Yesenia kind of covered that as well. The station will go from Glendora Avenue west to Vermont, and she showed you all the various ways to get in, but we have excavated, for the pedestrian underpass. So currently there's a pretty big hole type of work zone there right now. So they are digging in, and then they're starting to set the walls. So you guys will also see throughout the project large we call them stockpiles. So they're basically large piles of dirt. And part of our project is most of the things that we dig out, we reuse. So the big piles of dirt, we put them back into the wall, maybe at that location or maybe other locations. But again, this is going to be for the station, the main hub in Glendora. Elwood Avenue, we kind of touched on too, but Elwood Avenue just closed this week. We will reconstruct it just kind of as you saw for Barranca. It's a bit smaller, so it will get freight and light rail and the medians and the red curbs. And noted here, 7 a.m. to midnight are working hours here. We have done extensive outreach in the area. We have a hotline phone. We have a nighttime hotline phone. So we are ongoing there and excited to get going on another crossing. For the lane closure work that we do, it's going to be ongoing. Kind of as Yesenia mentioned, we do a lot of our work under lane closures, and that happens in both the day and the nighttime hours. With lane closures, it makes it easy for us to continue working, but also allow through traffic to provide less of an impact to vehicular and pedestrian traffic. So these notices are published for every large work activity. You can see that they're very detailed. We provide detours, we provide maps, always have contact information. You can see that the bus routes are on there, who to contact. So they're extensive and they go out across the city in various ways, whether they're delivered in person, emailed directly, posted online, on the app, on the site. So I'll show you that as we move forward. But these are just examples of kind of how we get the word out for all of our work. And then just going into our community outreach, how exactly all that happens. You can see on the right side, it is our, what we use as an outreach map. So you can see the crossing pretty big in the center there of that map, and then all the colored boxes that are surrounding it. So all those colored boxes identify different groups that we reach out to and kind of how we reach out to them. We have VIPs is what we call them. They are the ones that are directly impacted at our work. So they get extensive outreach starting pretty far in advance. And then we have commercial outreach that we do, and residential, and then we do community walks is there, which you can see in blue highlighted. So specifically, this is for Vermont, if you can't tell. The blue is what we would do for a walk to let everyone in the neighborhood know that they are going to have a cul-de-sac at Ada compared to the through street that they have now. So we would knock on every door, talk to all the residents, and provide them with that info. In addition to this outreach, like I mentioned, the website and emails go out. So we email emergency responders. So that includes the police, that includes fire, that includes any local health groups. So ambulances, hospitals. I know there's a few hospitals in this area and we have direct contacts with them too. So outreach is extensive like this for every single crossing that we do. As I mentioned, for our outreach, these notices on the top right are what are delivered for every big operation, whether it's a grade crossing or whether it's nighttime work that you might feel and hear. We want to make sure everyone is notified. We do alerts, we use the website, we do the walks like I mentioned, we Twitter, we put it on Facebook, we have a map that I'll show you in just a minute. And then what you can see on the bottom is our big banner for the questions for the project. We hang those at every single crossing, if we're working at it or not. And then in every work zone that we are currently staging equipment in or renting a parking lot, we really just want to make it known that we are here and we are available to talk to you. Yesenia and I mostly, it comes directly to us, and we are available to answer any questions almost at any time. So this is the map I was mentioning. I find it to be one of the most beneficial tools that we have. You can go on this map on foothillgoldline.org and you can click literally any of those colored circles and it tells you exactly what's going on. Our media relation, the Construction Authority media relations guy, he does a great job of keeping up with these interactive maps. They change as we change. They go with the flow of what we're working on. Everything gets updated. In addition to alerting the community, we also make an extensive effort to talk to all the VIPs that I mentioned that are, really close to the work. And we have done open business flags in front of every area that we can that has business, just to alert the vehicular and pedestrian, mostly vehicular traffic, that even though there's heavy construction going on, the business is still open, and we leave access available to all the businesses throughout. And then you can see on the left, we also do sponsored advertising that we take care of, just to make sure that we are not impacting businesses in any way, and we keep the flow of business into those impacted areas. We are also currently working on community virtual open houses. So those dates are still TBD, but we did live open houses 2 years ago. No, about a year ago. And we,
yeah, a year ago.
Yeah, we started in January, when then the last one kind of got cut off, but we are planning for new ones. We are looking for April 2021. So information on those will be shared once we have the date available. I think they're really good opportunities for all the groups of the city, as well as community members, to really get an update on the project. Although these meetings are available really at any request, these open houses provide a lot of insight. And then we also bring our construction management team to give pretty good details on what exactly is going on. If you have a question on what your wall is going to look like, or if your road is going to be reconstructed, they are there. We can answer those too, but they're there to provide really good insight. So this is going to be a 6-month look ahead. As Yesenia mentioned, we have 4 cities currently under construction. We have various crossings currently under construction. We are working on bridges. We are working in the railroad right of way. We are working almost 7 days a week throughout all 4 cities. We do a lot of work on the weekends, and if the sun doesn't shine all day today, we'll be working until it starts raining. We have dates to hit, and we are excited to cross these crossings off as we move forward. So you can see here, the project design, as Yesenia mentioned, is 80% complete, but it will continue. Obviously, the project, excuse me, if you didn't know, is a design build. So they design it, we build it, they keep designing, we keep building. So it's very much a circular motion of how we get this project done. We don't just have a set of plans that are handed to us and we just go. It's not that type of project. Design build is very fluid, and it very much moves throughout the construction process. So in the next 6 months, we have Fulton that's currently ongoing in Laverne and Pomona. So that's been closed since February. We have Eucla in San Dimas, which just closed, and then will just close the week after. East Street and Vermont are coming very quickly. East Street is in Wheeler and Vermont is in Glendora. Then we do have a couple more coming in Glendora that will follow the Glendora opening and the Elwood closing. We just kind of one after another, like I said, to get those crossings done and the bridge work started. As I mentioned, we do a lot of work. We call it mid-block. So anything between 2 railroad crossings that is not on city streets, those are mid-blocks. So throughout the project, those get underground utilities, those get new tracks. Most of the area gets walls. If it's not getting a wall, it's getting a fence, or both in some really lucky areas. So we'll continue activities there. We are working to relocate the freight bridges. So most of those bridges are not anything that would severely impact traffic or pedestrian access. Most of them are within the right of way and smaller compared to that Foothill and Grand Bridge or that Lone Hill flyover. These are the smaller ones. We do have about 20 bridges that we have to redo, but these are the ones that are less impactful, but they will still be ongoing. And then the bigger bridge, Route 66, that's going to be right next to the freight, will start, as well as the open houses are to follow. Like I mentioned, foothillgoldline.org is a great resource to keep yourself updated, and anyone that's curious. It has that interactive map, it has bios on the project, it has the renderings of the station, it has contact info, it really has everything. I even go there to pull up renderings and see how it's going. I just think it's a great resource. And then iwillride.org, the blog. We also have signups for a database that we do those e-blasts from, and those come from foothillgoldline.org. So Yesenia and I can sign you up ourselves, or you can also go sign yourself up at foothillgoldline.org. And again, those e-blasts come out, depending on the level of work, they come out weekly or bi-weekly, and they update you on all that information that I just showed you. if you're not getting hand notices or emails directly to you, this option of being on the database will get you those sent directly to you.
With that, that concludes our presentation. I know it was a lot. Thank you for being patient. I'm guessing we could take questions now. Joe?
Sure, yeah. Actually, I have a question. I don't know, either one of you can answer. Regards to the, in the Glendora side, the freeways, the freeway and the on-ramp and off-ramp, I know you have to tunnel underneath. Is that going to affect the freeway traffic at all?
I don't believe so. You're talking about off of Lone Hill?
Yeah. Yeah, where the train goes under the 57 to 210, connection.
Right. No, as far as I know, we are coordinating with Caltrans. We do get permits from them, letting them know what's happening underneath, but there is no need to stop or to impact or to take lane closures from the freeway as we know of as of yet.
Yeah, sure. Okay, great.
Yesenia, I have a question for you.
Mhm.
One of the things when I ride the GO line, you go and try to get parking and there's never any parking because it's already packed, and you go down like 5 different stations to find parking.
Mm.
And you said that they're removing the parking structure at Glendora. So how's that gonna work when how many spots are there and overflow and all that good stuff?
Yeah, we are removing the parking structure. We've actually expanded the surface lot, so it's a little larger than it was previously. But we are still removing, I believe it's 118 parking. So the Glendora station is going to have a total of 302 parkings. And what you're describing is a function of behavior. Metro found out, or they did a study where they started to look to see if everybody who uses a parking is actually using the system. And they had a feeling that that wasn't the case. So when they started to charge, they noticed that their ridership really didn't suffer and that parking became available. So a lot of people, the assumption is that a lot of people were parking for free and not using the system. So there is a $3 charge. I don't know for sure if Metro is going to implement that on our stations, but I would guess that they probably would. You'll notice too, you're right, there has been a lot of residents that have said that they drive all the way to APU and it's full, and then they continue to the next station and it's full, and sometimes they don't get a parking until they get to Irwindale, and sometimes by the time you're in Irwindale, you'd rather just drive yourself all the way through. So what we've noticed is that happens at the last station. Usually the last station is the one that has the most parking. That happened when we built the system out to Pasadena. If you go to the Sierra Madre parking lot or parking structure, it was full. It was completely full by 6 or 7 a.m. And now if you drive there, you'll notice that station is, I've driven just to see and to take pictures, and usually the top 2 tiers are so empty. So it looks like the last station is the one that gets the most parking impacts. And then it kind of dwindles down from there. So Glendora is the first station of this segment. So you would expect Pomona to may have a little more parking demand than Glendora.
I have a question, Yesenia.
Mm-hmm.
I think that part of the issue with the Azusa parking was they were probably parking there for shopping locations, and in Glendora they wouldn't park there and then maybe go walk up to the village. That's what we're hoping, that they'll go into the village and shop, but they wouldn't park there. You know what I'm trying to say. But so one thing I noticed at the Azusa station is that there was a lot of reserve parking for people who wanted monthly passes. So if you just wanted to go there for the day, which I love using the Gold Line, take it to LA, when everything was open, it was our favorite thing to do. I'll do that at the drop of a hat, but trying to find parking, that because I didn't have a reserve pass, was very difficult are there allowances for that, or is that just a better way of income for Gold Line, and so they have more of those spaces for those commuters?
You know, I've heard that a lot, and I drove out there to see it because it didn't really make sense to me. And I do see that there is a lot of monthly parking reserved. I myself couldn't figure out where I would park if, and I couldn't even find the area, the ticket machine to buy a ticket.
Correct.
So I called my colleagues at Metro and I said, can you help me out here? Because you're not the only person that has brought that up. But unfortunately, it seems like that station is really made for monthly passes. There is a way for people so that people can park daily there, but I'm still waiting for that answer. I don't have it, Nita, but I can definitely get back to you once my friend from Metro gets back to me, because this comes up all the time, and honestly, it's embarrassing. We built it, we don't run it, but still we need to be able to explain how you use it.
Right.
So I will definitely get back to you on that one.
Thank you. I think the second part of my question maybe goes to Kelsey. I'm trying to get a visual of where Ada is going to be closed. Is it closed at Vermont? Is it closed at Grand? I'm just wondering because the hospital's there on that street.
Yesenia, will you go to the slide with the parking, with the station and the parking? Because that has a visual on it.
Thank you.
Okay.
This one, right?
Yes. So if you can, oh, you can't see my mouse again.
I can
On
show
the
it.
top. Yep, on this top left, you can see the cul-de-sac. So right now it currently goes through to Vermont if you're heading east. And then right where you can see that it cul-de-sacs and there's going to be some trees there, that is where it will end.
So here is Vermont.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
And this is Ada. The cul-de-sac will be here. A lot of reasons, well, one of the main reasons why the California Public Utilities Commission made this a cul-de-sac is because now that we have to put 2 additional tracks, we're going to use the entire corridor, or 100-foot right of way, and Ada literally runs into the corridor. So it's a safety issue, and they
You can
forced
almost-
us to make this.
Yeah, you can almost see the corner of the street kind of loops in
there.
right there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of in regards to this, I know that we've seen a lot of questions in regards to, because the hospital's there, people are saying, well, won't that make it harder for ambulances and emergency vehicles go to the hospital? But isn't it true that that's not a route they're supposed to take anyways?
Yes, we've been in conversations with the hospital maybe like 5 years or 4 years.
Mhm.
And they're aware of the situation here, and they're not, they were concerned, but it wasn't a showstopper.
Yeah.
They would have been really affected if we would have closed Ada on the other side by the signal.
Sure. Great. Anybody else ever have any other questions?
Thank you for your patience
I have
with
a
Glendora
question.
Avenue. That was a long
Yes.
one.
It was a long one.
We really
hear me?
appreciate it. We ran into some things that we weren't expecting that delayed the opening of that
Can you hear me?
particular crossing.
Sure.
I have a question.
Jay?
Sure.
You said somewhere there's sponsored ads. Where do I find that on your site? I can't find it. I'm looking through it.
It's not on our website. I don't mean to make you guys dizzy, but I need to go. Okay, here we go. So what we do is we coordinate with magazines that provide coupons in the city, and we talk to the businesses that are near the crossings that are going to be closed for a significant amount of time. And then we ask them if they would like us to purchase an ad for them. If you have a business that is near one of our crossings that is closed now or is about to be closed, send me your information so that I can get in contact with you, and then I can put you in contact with our vendor that does this so that we can do this for you if you're interested.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And that goes additionally with those flags, they're about 16 feet tall. So even if there's construction vehicles or signage or cones around the area, the flags stick out pretty well. We made them kind of purplish blue, so they stick out amongst the orange. So again, if you are right there and there's nothing there directing anyone to you, I'll get with Yesenia if you contact her and